Good morning, folks. We got a storm going on, and on my roof you can sure as hell hear it. And there's been intermittent hail, small hail, makes a little bit of a pingy sound. You can hear it. Lorraine, come on up here. Come on up. Yeah. Let me give you a hug and let everybody see you, huh? How pretty you are. Yeah, so a pretty girl. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Well, we're in Kansas. Yeah, and this ain't Toto either. Lorraine's a real killer. Well, she hadn't hurt anybody except me. But she sure doesn't like other women very much. She's real jealous. But also, dogs are a better judge of character than we are. So if somebody's not quite right for us, a dog will let you know. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. She's still mouthy. She's not nearly as bad as she was, but she's just totally sweet. She's got to get these little love nibbles, but I don't want those. I don't want those canines on me like that. I mean, yeah, okay, yeah, all right. Yeah, no, leave my hand alone. No, cut it out. We're starting to learn how to play a little bit together. The problem is she's so fast. When she plays, it's pretty serious. I mean, she's so strong, she can hurt me very easily. And she doesn't look like much. She's not that big. She's small. I wanted her on the small side so I could pick her up and carry her if we got into some trouble. I wanted to be able to carry my dog. My last dog was 70 pounds. I had to carry him quite a ways one time, like 1.5 miles straight. A couple of times I had to drag him up. She's 60 pounds, so I should be able to carry her. I'm going to get a big male, 80 pounds, and I'm not going to be able to carry him. But she looks like she might weigh 45 pounds. And you touch her. Muscle, pure muscle, and fur, and teeth, and one hell of an attitude. Very strong little girl. It's 20 months old, I figure. Born November 8th. Here it is August, after the 8th. I wanted to come up with a show for you, Confessions of a Psychologist. And I think it's a good topic. I haven't developed it. I haven't fleshed it out. I don't have an outline. So let's see where that takes us. Yes, it's late in the morning. Storms are bad. We didn't sleep very well at all. We didn't sleep well at all. We both slept in late. She barks at the storms. I got to calm her down. So we're in a parking lot here in a Walmart at Fort Scott. And the trucks have piled in here. And I know that the weather for this area is predicted to be pretty rough. But where we're headed to, Wichita, it's going to be nice and sunny. So it's just a matter of waiting till the rain lets up. I got to go outside and start the Toad, warm up the transmission for 3 minutes before we can safely tow the Toad away with us. And we don't have very far to get to Wichita, where I will take on fuel. We are using lots of fuel. This trip has not been very kind when it comes to fuel consumption and the cost. It's not as devastating as last summer was, though. Oh, heck. I'm going to change the subject already. We drilled an oil well in Alaska in 1974 on Gull Island, and I haven't been able to find it on the map. So it's basically a nondescript island that was probably nicknamed by the natives Gull Island. And that well, in 1974, they measured so much back pressure, they partied for 2 weeks straight. Why? Why would you party after you drilled a well? The back pressure indicated there was enough oil in that one well to feed 100% of the United States of America's oil needs. 100% for 3 centuries. That's 300 years. The problem is the federal government forced us to shut it down and cap it off. It's remained dormant, untapped, untouched since 1974. And that's still there for us. We could re-drill that. We'd have to re-drill it at this point. It would be worth it, though. We know it's not going to be a dry hole. There is a problem. The Alaska pipeline only has a limited capacity. It can only carry 20% of our nation's oil needs. So what does that mean? Well, if you've got 300 years of oil and you're only going to convey 20% of the time, that means you've got 1,500 years of a full oil pipeline, and you don't have to drill again. You don't have to explore again, because that well will replenish itself and just keep producing. See, oil is not fossil fuel. It's an insulator. You know, there's oil insulators in the transformers in your neighborhood on the block. You know, there was a real big bad thing about PCBs and the oil years ago that was dangerous to us. Well, they have to have oil in them. And the earth has to have oil in it. Why? Because the earth is a big electromagnetic motor. It makes all the electricity you could ever want. They don't want you tapping into it for free, though. Of course, Nikola Tesla disagreed with that, and I think they waxed him. By the way, the last two men seen with Nikola Tesla alive were CIA agents. One of whom was nicknamed Ice Pick. Why would a man be called Ice Pick? That was his favorite implement of destroying another human being. He liked using ice pick to the temple. That's his chosen form of execution. Of course, that man is deceased now, but you won't believe who he was. And he oversaw and supervised the triumvirate hit on JFK in Dealey Square. Dealey Plaza is actually the proper name. In Dallas, Texas, on that day, November 22nd. I think that was 1962. Yeah, I just turned 11 years old. I cried all day that day. I was in Fort View Elementary School, 6th grade. Mr. Lane was my teacher. You see, one thing about the Kennedy assassination is we regular, normal people all know, all remember where we were that day. But Papa Bush couldn't remember where he was. And he had taken his son to work that day. Bush Jr., who became another president. Ice Pick was George Walker Bush. Tesla was an old man when they carted him off. He had lost all of his teeth. He was pretty decrepit. He had lived a pretty good life. But he also invented so much stuff, and he was still prolific. I mean, he was still inventing stuff that they couldn't take a chance that he might invent something that could do them in. He invented that ray gun that they first put on the jets. That's how they knocked the alien spacecraft down in Roswell, by the way. The weapon. The pilot was told, you have the weapon, knock that faster aircraft down. Took a shot at it. Took a long time for it to come down. Oh boy, can you hear that? Listen to that. I'm going to keep this short because I don't think the audio is going to be worth 2 cents. But I want to tell you the truth about the field of psychology, my discipline. You're not going to like it. The professions are turned against the laity. My best buddy, Edwin Kroger, who we all called Andy, wanted me to entitle a chapter of my book that. And the thing is that the professions in the United States of America are all turned upon the rest of us. The professions are predatory on the lay people. Psychology being no exception. Psychology being used to destroy the nation. To manage it for the plantation owners, for the masters. And of course, real estate's turned against the people. Dentistry's definitely turned against the people. They still put mercury in your head. And the medical profession, my God, they have a license to kill. I know I've left some professions out. The only noble professions are the crafts professions. carpentry, plumber, pipe fitter, bricklayer, cement worker, iron worker. Those are the only noble professions in America anymore. Oh, and the attorneys, they're pretty bad as well. So if you want to be a noble man, don't take one of the professions like I did. But you see, I was a dumbass. I didn't know what was going on. At that point, I didn't know my left hand from my right hand. I was very confused. But I had a good mentor in Dr. Glade Birch. He had been an attorney and a judge before he screwed that part of his life up and ended up becoming a psychologist. He was a pretty good psychologist. I got a little bit bigger dose of the goodness of it, though. And I'm a little too honest and too noble, so I tell you the truth. My approach, my philosophy is much better than the liberals, the libtards' philosophy. So you get well with me, and I am going to open up. I am going to hang my shingle up, and I'm going to offer consulting. It's not going to be cheap, because if you don't pay for it, you won't value it. And my services beat the pants off anybody else's services out there. I'm just going to do consulting. I'm not going to be treating you. If you're getting treatment and it's not working, or if you want to get treatment and you want good guidance, that's my job. I'm not doing long-term therapy. If you're suicidal, I don't want to touch you. You need somebody face-to-face who's going to open a chart and be held responsible for you. Me, I won't work for the bastards that issue licenses again. I hate my profession. It's become nothing but a glorified bunch of liberal pansies, pussies, mini psychiatrists. That's what they've all become. We were educated better than the goddamn psychiatrists, better than the medical doctors. Our profession has more than 4 centuries of tradition behind it. And the medical doctors, 1 century. That's it. And you all worship them, treating them as if they're the real doctors. My God, it's nothing but a goddamn modern witch doctor. And you're going to listen to every word they say. My buddy in Indy, he's got problems. I can tell him how to live longer. Oh, no, it's got to come from his doctor, or he won't do it. Come on, Rick, stop being a dumbass. Hell, I was there in person visiting you. Well, and you rolled out the red carpet for me. I appreciate that. I was going to chide you and tell you, don't you know how important I am? And you should have rolled the red carpet out for me, but you still got some problems and issues, man. You still fuck up pretty bad, but I understand she's got her hooks into you really deeply. I feel for you. I'm glad I didn't get any deeper in that one myself. Okay, here comes the hail again. I'm not going to be driving on these roads with limited visibility and all that. It's just too damn dangerous. My life's too precious to me. And besides that, it's going to be a headwind, which means burning more fuel. And I'm safe right here. And the trucks are flocking in, which means that it's bad out there. They're not driving anywhere. It's real bad. The trucker in front of me has been here for way over the mandatory 10-hour rest period. I've been here for more than 10 hours. My God, good barbecue at Fort Scott. Ah, we missed Luther's. It was much better. But it was good company anyway. I got to see one of my brothers. I confessed some of my crap up to him. I think he probably thinks a little differently of me now. He's probably shaking his head going, John, you did what? Over 200? Good God, man. Oh, well, what can I say? The Confessions of a Psychologist. If I had hair, I'd pull it out for you. But I don't. I used to have really long hair. Most psychologists have forgotten their craft. They don't understand what to do. They default automatically to the medical model. And a lot of these jackasses want to treat psychological mental health records as if they were medical records, because those are much more revered. they're much more precious. Oh, hell no. The psychological records are much more precious. They shouldn't be digitized and shared. They should be handwritten. They should be hard to access for a reason. Why? Because most psychologists are fuck-ups. And the notes, if you read the notes, will reveal more about that damn psychologist than it will about the client. Why? Diagnosis is a stress reaction in the motherfucking psychologist. It's not necessarily in the client. We're trained to give people bad names, labels. And then we cast those labels, we cast those people in cement overshoes, and we toss them overboard. We say, yeah, that's it for life for you, buddy. You can't get better. No improvement for you. That's it. You might as well whack yourself. I mean, that's the average practice today. And I call it negative projective practice. Negative projective psychology. You take your bullshit, the stress that's going on inside you, which may be actually your shit, and you put it on your patient by mistake. That's at least half a psychologist, especially the other gender or genders, whatever the hell. And you need to be careful about what they write in your notes. Why? Because they write real bad stuff. It's discoverable by other people. There ain't no damn confidentiality. I don't care what they say, especially since Barack Obama made everything go digital. And the government has access to every bit of it on your dumb ass. Every bit of it. You talk about records. You talk about a spy network. You talk about a police state. That's what your modern therapeutic state has become. I'm so glad I don't participate in it. Now, there's a jackass out there who's trying to pass himself off and reinvent himself as the father of positive psychology. He actually came up with learned helplessness, and he did a lot of other experiments that they couldn't make public. They couldn't publish because they were unethical as hell. And his family is listed as one of those families instrumental in the takedown of America. However, in the big book, the hardcover book, of which the family name is, they misspelled it by one frickin' letter. So he and his family have gotten by with it, and they're out of Pennsylvania. Just look up Learned Helplessness. The son of a bitch is still alive, and he's trying to make himself famous as the father of positive psychology. You want positive psychology? You want the positive psychologist? You're looking at him. When I discovered and realized what the hell I was doing and what we were taking all this monstrous nomenclature that was mystifying even us, because we didn't know our asses from a hole in the ground. And we were putting it off on this client. That's negative projective practice. That's your average psychologist today. That's what your average clinician does for you and to you. Now, me, on the other hand, the folks in Mississippi trained my ass up. I'm not saying much here, but you need to hear me. They were worried about me. And they also had a good deal because they weren't paying me hardly spit. And I was doing their psychological testing. And when I left, you know, here I was getting 15 grand a year as a stipend. They finally bumped me up to 25 grand towards the end. And the guy they had to hire to replace me was they had to pay him 45 grand a year. So they had a good deal with me. But it was the common people in Mississippi that trained me. Why? Because they weren't educated. They didn't know the books, the language that we'd all been brainwashed with. They didn't understand whether they were depressed or anxious. I had to get in there and sort it out. And their use of language was so inaccurate, I had to put language aside. I had to focus on the person in front of me. Imagine that. So I couldn't just paint by numbers. I had to really get in there and do some artistry, some artwork. I had some really good teachers. I loved some of the people, most of the people, even the ones that were difficult in Mississippi. I helped a lot of people. Those people educated me way beyond the university level. They made me bust out of that bullshit they had brainwashed with me all the time, every day. And yeah, I did a little experimentation on them. I had to pull out everything I could to help them. And I learned in short order to combine the different disciplines, the different schools of thought. Because either I serve the discipline or I serve the patient in front of me, the client in front of me. So I had my choice. I could either worship my science, my discipline, and adhere to the model and ignore the son of a bitch, the poor son of a bitch in front of me that was needing help. Or I could focus on that poor son of a bitch in front of me and help them and abandon whatever school or schools I was employing at the time. So I did that. I did quite well. I stumbled into a lot of success. And I had a real good time. I mean, I was living with a mattress on the floor in a 400 square foot apartment. I don't even remember what the rent was. And I had a borrowed dining room table with one chair that had been left by the previous tenant. And I got permission to use it as long as I promised to leave it there when I left. And for a nightstand, I had a cardboard box with a lamp on it. And that's where my alarm clock was. And every day when I got up out of bed, I had to rise up and get my ass up off the floor. It was a 2-bedroom apartment, basically. Kind of a kitchen, living room efficiency in the front, and a bedroom, and then a bathroom. And I actually liked it. It was small. It was cozy. It was quaint. It was like being in my own kennel. The dog's got her kennel. I had my kennel. And I actually made so little money, I would have qualified for food stamps if my car wasn't so nice. And of course, when they found out that I was thinking about applying for food stamps, they got really embarrassed. Yeah. Well, I remember it was $1.60 to get a shirt cleaned up professionally, you know, ironed and starched. I had to wear dress shoes. I had to dress leather shoes. I had to wear starched shirts. I had to wear ties. That's the way it started out at the Center for Children. Eldridge had high standards, and he put on quite a presence. He was a real gentleman. I loved the man a lot. He was a little too rough on me at times. I think his wife was rougher on me than he was. She kept muddling and stuff, muddying up the waters. And I would be complaining because I was trying to get my reports done. And she would take it that I hadn't finished my reports. She'd tell her husband he'd come and sit down and chew my ass out. And I'd listen to him, just like I'd listen to my parents or my mom. And I'd finally tell him, sir, I've got the report right here. And he'd get frustrated because he thought I hadn't finished the report. Yes, I got the reports. It's all done. I mean, it's been rough. I just got them done. You know, but they're done. And he got pretty miffed because his wife had yanked his chain a little too hard, and he had been a little too rough on me, and he didn't check out things with me first. Reminds me of my own family. I don't check out things first. Isn't it funny how we humans seem to suffer from the same thing? Not listening to one another, not listening or actually abiding by what the other person tells us. The other person will tell you what the hell they're up to. They'll tell you about themselves. If you listen, they will tell you. Except the sociopath. They'll tell you everything but. And the narcissist is kind of a rough deal too. I'm kind of blind to narcissists. I wish I had I don't have any narcissism in me. Lorraine, come on, quiet. Come. Come. Quiet. Good girl. Good quiet. Come here. He was walking right by the motorhome. And she didn't like that. Lorraine, it's okay. Good girl. Good watchdog. Yeah. You know that high-pitched sound? Sounds like a little dog. Sounds harmless. That's her key. That's her spirit. This little girl's got one of the most strong spirits you've ever run into in your life. I still have to use a training collar on her to manage her. She's so stupid strong and such strong will. She's got heart and she's got drive. She wants to earn that food and she wants a job. And I haven't been providing her much of a job. I'm praying and hoping I can make a deal with the trainer that we had a while ago, and that he'll accept a litter of puppies or two from her in exchange for training for her and for the other dog I want to get. I want 2 dogs because she doesn't protect herself from the damn chihuahuas. They chase her under the motorhome, and it's embarrassing. She hasn't found a dog yet that she's not willing to submit to. But as far as motorhome life and RV park life, it's perfect. She's never going to hurt another dog. So I want her to be the ambassador. I'm going to take her out with me. She's going to be vested up. The boy, on the other hand, I'm going to leave him a little bit on the rough side, hoping that he will protect her. Because I can't protect her. Except with maybe lethal force. But if I got a dog, another dog protecting her, yeah, that's the way to go. She needs a protector. I can look out for her, and I do that. Look, folks, my field is screwed up. We helped take down America. We were instrumental in the takedown. And my field, as a discipline, practices negative projective psychology. So you're stuck with this diagnosis for life. You cannot get better. You will never get well. It's hopeless. My God, what kind of a psychologist is that says that bullshit? Well, that's what they're practicing. That's what they're living. They won't say it, but that's their attitude. And behind the scenes, they'll deride you, like the psychiatrist, but not quite as bad as the psychiatrist. They really think you're trouble and problems and you're weird, and they're going to medicate your ass. Really horrible attitude to have towards your client, right? Folks, I'm going to charge $100 for a consultation, and that consultation is limited. I'm not going to keep therapeutic notes on you. Just not going to do it. You cannot expect me to be practicing psychology on you. It's a consultation. And you can be in various jurisdictions, and it's just a private consultation is all it is. And my purpose is to help guide you so you can get good treatment. So you can make sure you're not getting bad treatment. There's a problem is that these guys that are out there with the licenses, when they find out I'm in the background, they're going to get pissed off. I'll tell you what, I don't give a shit. They don't matter to me. They don't know their ass from a hole in the ground. They don't know their left hand from the right hand. Of course, that was in the Bible for the people of Nineveh, meaning they were innocent. No, the psychologists are not innocent. They're dirty as hell. I don't encourage anybody to go in the field. It doesn't pay very well. It became a female-dominated profession. They flooded the market. And women are willing to work for hygiene factors, for hygienic factors. They like good work environments with nice clothes, nice settings, nice furniture, nice lamps, you know, beautiful places. And they like to dress up. Okay. And then another hygiene, so they like that. A man, he don't give a shit. He'll go into the worst environments, the most dangerous of environments, if it means he's going to be better able to support his family. He will put his life on the line. He will risk life and limb to take care of his family. And he'll go out there and he'll get up on those high wires and play with that electricity. Or he'll get up, oh my God, the steel workers or iron workers, whatever the hell you call those guys that get up on the high rises and walk out on those beams. Now that's freaking insane. You couldn't pay me to do that stuff. I've seen the pictures of those guys, well, they look like they're thousands of feet in the air. And they're just enjoying their lunches and acting like they're home. Good God. Where's the balcony? Where are the ropes? Where's the safety nets? And men will go to war as well. Now, women want to go. They think they're going to get the glory, but they really don't belong there. For one, they can't control themselves, and that's what the Israelis found out with the when they first had female combat troops is that the women were too bloodthirsty. They were too much killer in them. They were more killer than the males, and they couldn't control them as well. They weren't disciplined enough. They weren't following orders. They'd go berserk on you. Another hygiene factor that a woman wants is influence over her boss. She will trade salary for having influence over her boss. Being able to have that influence over the boss is more important to her than the dollars. I guess it's because she wants to dominate. You tell me. I don't know. Well, the rain is dying down here. Still got some thunder in the background. It's going to let up. I wanted to go in the store and get one more item, but it's just too doggone wet and rainy. And I'm late. I want to get on the road. I want to get fuel. I'm going to take a nap. I hate driving through Liberal, Kansas, not because of the name of the place, but because it's always windy there, and the prevailing winds are from west to east, and I'm headed west, which means I'm going to get a headwind, which means it's going to knock the piss out of my fuel efficiency. So this rig can get 10 miles to the gallon when there's no wind, level, 55 miles an hour. It can, and you don't run with a full water tank. Maybe you can get 10 miles to the gallon out of it. But towing with a full water tank, which is the way I like to travel, and I like to have a full fuel tank too, I'm not able to get that much. I might get 8.6 if I'm lucky. And in this trip, on the trip east, I was averaging 7.4. And this trip through Missouri, through those mountains and hills, I was doing like 6.6. So that's just the way gas is. It doesn't have enough energy. It doesn't do the work. It doesn't have the torque that diesel has. So in heavier vehicles, you really want the torque. You want the workhorse. Now this has got more torque than the average Ford 460, about 100 foot-pounds more torque, because it has a Banks power pack on it. It's got an enlarged intake. It's got headers on it. Yeah, headers on a motorhome, and an enlarged exhaust. So this thing, I can pass trucks on hills with this regularly. Not every one of them, mind you, but I do it almost daily. This is a great little motorhome. I'm going to miss it. I just broke the fan in the bathroom. I punched up the switch to exhaust those fumes from the bathroom, and the switch came apart, apparently. I mean, it looks like it broke. So, another thing to fix. These old rigs break. That's all there is to it. The plastic is brittle. It is old. Lorraine, the tail is wagging like you wouldn't believe right now. Lorraine, come. Come. Bad dog. What did I say? Sit. Sit. Good girl. Good sit. Sit. Stay. Good girl. We're not disciplined enough yet. What did I say? Sit. Stay right there. Such a good girl. What a pretty girl. Look at those ears. Go up and move around as I talk to you. Oh, yes, and the eyes. Oh. She's pretty sensitive. I found out all my dogs have been sensitive. And those that are brighter, she's really intelligent. Diesel was really intelligent. They got more of a conscience. And so they sit and sulk. And you don't want them to do that because it festers at them. It eats at them. If you let them sit for 2 hours, they're down on themselves for 2 hours. So you want to release them right away. Come on. Get the ball. Get your ball. Good girl. I got tired of the squeaky thing. So I hid it under the couch behind a box. And I thought maybe I'd lost it because I thought I'd put it up in the overhead. So when I found it and gave it to her, oh yeah, we were both happy about that. She loves her ball. I thought maybe she'd taken it outside and left it outside because she wants to carry it with her everywhere. And I like it because her mouth is just full. So she can't bark at people, and she sort of hell can't bite anybody while that ball is in her mouth. And so she'll bark at somebody with a ball in her mouth, and it's cute as can be. It's funny, but there are times in which I tell her to get me the ball, and she takes it right into her kennel. She's afraid she's going to lose it again. She likes it so much. My mother bought that ball for Diesel, and Diesel didn't like balls. And this is the perfect size to fill her whole mouth right up. So she's like helpless while she holds the ball. Oh, there she is, barking with a ball in her mouth. Lorraine, kennel. Good girl, good kennel. Stay. It's raining still pretty badly. I'm going to start moving down the road. I'm not going over 55 generally. This is nice and level. It's flat Kansas. The weather ain't flat though. My God, does it rain here. We got at least an inch last night. It rained really hard. I wouldn't have wanted to have been out on the road during that. So I'm going to mosey down the road to my next stop. And I'm going to have to start the generator pretty soon so I can run the air conditioner. It is hot and it's humid. So this should be show 24. Confessions of a Psychologist. I don't think we've exhausted the subject yet. Do you?